Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Roommate Squad, the talk show where I, Stanpai, am joined by some of my greatest friends of all time, Alex, Jorge, and Conrad, who will introduce themselves shortly as we talk about whatever the subject of the day is. Now, today's subject is our favorite games of 2017. But, going down the row, everybody please introduce yourselves to our audience.
Hi guys, I'm Alex. I am a avid video game lover. I like, in general, nerd around things. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Well, don't find me on Facebook, but yeah.
All right.
Hey everyone, my name is Jorge. You can find me on Steam at Shotgun Friendly. I've been playing video games since God knows how long, and I've been an avid PC gamer for quite a while now. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited to talk about some of the best games from last year. PC, really good year.
All right.
Hey.
Last up.
Conrad, you're up.
Alrighty. Hi, I'm Conrad. You can find me on Steam at Steam/ZeroCool. You might have better luck than actually searching for it, because they're not really good at doing that.
Yeah.
Dang old, if you know what I'm saying.
I do. I completely
All
know
right.
what you're
Well,
saying.
okay. Well, thank you. I am avid. And
Excellent. So
stay tuned for more.
all right,
Back to you,
thanks,
Stan.
fellas. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. We have a long list of games, but we're going to condense it down to our top 3 from each of us, and we're going to go over what those games were. But before
Hey,
that,
Tony. Sorry.
yeah, Tony's in the chat. Hello, Tony. So before
Shout
we
out.
do that, though, Jorge, you mentioned doing something else first.
Yeah, I just thought that in order for our full exposure of what we thought was good this year, was that we talked about our top 10 really quickly so that we can, get those out of the way and get to the stuff that really matters.
Right.
So, yeah, take it away, Stan.
All right, cool. So going from 10 through 4, for me, I didn't really have a lot of games that I played that came out in 2017 over the year of 2017, despite my many anticipated titles. Most of what I wanted to play, I got to play. Now, that said, I guess my last 3, 6 through 4, I just want to give a shout out to Cuphead, to ARMS, and Yakuza 0. And from there, I'll move on. Alex, what are your number 10 through 4?
Oh man, so for number 10, I put For Honor, which I played on PS4, and I'm a huge fighting game fan, and For Honor was a very different experience that I appreciated it. I later dropped it because of balancing issues, but and number
Ubisoft.
yeah, and Ubisoft, it's just yeah. And then number 9, I had Tekken 7. Number 8, I had Gundam Versus. Number 7, I had Stardew Valley, which I played on the Switch. That was the first time I'd played it, so I added it to my 2017 list. Number 6, Sonic Mania, which, man, that game was just a beautiful nostalgia trip for me. Number 5, I had Super Mario Odyssey, which was a just wonderfully polished experience. And then number 4, I had Puyo Puyo Tetris, which I played a lot this year.
Yes.
On the Switch.
I would have put it on my list, but I had played it on the PS3, so it did not qualify. All right, so
Right.
Jorge, what are your 10 through 4?
This year I decided to do something different. I finally decided to get a home console for the first time. I ended up buying a PS4 because I just couldn't say no to some of the stuff that was coming out. So, starting with number 10, Nier Automata. This was just a really surprising game, and if you haven't played it, I super recommend it. I think that just about anyone who likes video games can try it out. Number 9, Horizon Zero Dawn. This was probably one of my favorite open world games, and it was really surprising at how fun it was to play against the giant robots. Number 8 was Cuphead, which I played on the PC, and Cuphead is just all the hype is true. Cuphead is just great. Number 7 was Samus Returns. I love Metroid games. I've been playing them forever. This game was such a nice breath of fresh air for the Metroid series, and I'm really excited to see what comes out this year with Metroid Prime 4. Number 6, Neo. Neo is just more of Bloodborne for me, and if you liked Bloodborne and you want more of that quick in and out combat, go pick up Neo. It's so much fun. Number 5 was something a little different. Rainbow Six Siege Season 2. I just picked up this game recently within the last 2 months, and I just cannot stop playing it. This game made such a huge comeback, which is surprising because it's from Ubisoft. And if you're a shooter fan and you like playing stuff like Counter-Strike and you like something that's maybe you like MOBAs, this game has a little bit of all that. And I super recommend it. And then number 4 was Breath of the Wild. Like you got to give props where props are due.
Right on. Eric Conrad, last up with number 10 through 4 from you.
Got it. All right, well, number 10 coming in hot is Loco Roco 2 Remastered. It's a direct port to the PS4 that happened to come out in, December. I didn't play it on the
in
PS4.
2017.
It
I didn't
counts.
play it on it counts, yeah, I played it on the PSP. And I'd say it holds up to this day. Number
Okay. Keep it going, baby.
Just saying. I'm really glad I had an excuse to put it on my top 10 list again. So number 9, we got Pit People from the guys over at Newgrounds. I think at least Tom Fulp is at least Tom Fulp is involved in that. Yeah, Behemoth, Giant Chicken Productions, whatever. The Castle, what was there? The Castle Wars.
Castle Crashers.
Castle Crashers.
Alien Hominid Castle Crashers.
Thank you, Castle
And
Crashers.
then Battle Block
Me.
Theater was what they
Battle
got
Block
for
Theater.
it.
So-
Yeah, Pit People. Not a lot of people found out about that one, but I like that a lot. I'm going to speed this up.
I also will recommend that one.
Number 8. Danganronpa 1-2 Reload. Another port, but it's a collection with a different it's a collection for the PS4, the Danganronpa series. Stanpai got me into it for Hallmat last December. I've only finished the first one, and I am on trial 3 of the second Despair. Goodbye Despair.
Sayonara.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danganronpa. Yeah, it's a lot of. It gets number 8 easily just because I didn't expect to like a VN so much. Yeah. It's the most un-VN like thing of all. But dang old number 7, Unbox Newbie's Adventure. Now, a lot of people haven't heard of this. About the same amount of handful of people as would have heard of Pit People. Unbox Newbie's Adventure. It's a collect-a-thon platformer about as loose as Yooka-Laylee, but I didn't happen to play Yooka-Laylee. I played Unbox Newbie's Adventure instead, and I'm partial to these types of games, so it's probably better than Yooka-Laylee. I've heard less bad things said about it than Yooka-Laylee.
There you go.
All right, cool. Yeah, so just put all that together, you got number 7. All right, number 6 is Halo Wars 2. I'm just partial to Halo Wars, the series. I feel like it was a great swan song for, that company. And the sequel to that game was just as fine. It ran flawlessly on my Windows PC. However, it also ran off of the Windows Live Store, so neither me nor anybody in the world plays it anymore. But I had a fun time with it. 5 is Nier Automata, same reasons as what Jorge had. And number 4, well, I liked it a lot. Just also on its own accord, between me and it in a room together, I had a fun time. I liked it. I like Nier Automata. Not just because Jorge likes it. Thank you. Yeah. Give it more like a second leg to stand on.
There you go.
All right. And then number 4 coming in coolly is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
There you go. That's I like how that was your last one, but you had the least to say about it because it kind of was really easy to understand. It's this is a game you've actually heard of.
It speaks for itself. It's dropped down a few numbers on the list because I haven't played it in a long time.
That'll do it.
And I know that I only completed the first of the dungeons and had spent all the time prior and after that running around having a lot of fun, crawling up towers.
Yeah.
Playing with the sandbox environment. I mean, I had a blast with it. I just didn't finish it.
Conrad, did you play A Hat in Time? Talking about Unbox.
I did. I did play Hat in Time. No, I'm gonna
now he's got to
Unbox.
reconsider his list. But while Conrad does that, we're gonna move.
Unbox was a bigger surprise for me.
There you go. We're gonna move into our top 3 for each of us. So we're gonna do the same way. We're gonna talk about our number 3, each of us, going into more detail than we did with the lists that we just gave you, and talking about why they were put at our number 3, then 2, and then 1. So for myself, I'm gonna go ahead and start with Super Mario Odyssey. Now, a lot of people put this as their game of the year during this year. It's pretty awesome. Some reasons I loved it. Now, this one doesn't need a lot of explanation. It is a Mario platformer. It's a 3D game. Obviously, if you've played Mario 64 and games like it, they're good. They're very good experiences. One might even say amazing experiences. Now, Mario Odyssey had a lot to offer in both really like tight game design. When you look at, you get some kind of new enemy introduced in every stage that gives you some new way to like learn how to play the game. I like to think of, even adding, it was like a Tengu in Bowser's level towards the end.
Oh my god, the
Spike
Pokebird.
Yeah,
the Pokebird was my favorite.
Right, and like I just loved how that is like the last level of the game almost, near the end of the game, and here's yet another new mechanic to take in, using that to like traverse walls and stuff. So like those were constantly being given on every single stage, and I really loved the diversity of those different enemies and locations. The music was phenomenal. I love being able to change costumes as Mario. That's like, having any kind of costume collection in a game is definitely something that I enjoy, especially when those costumes end up giving you like extra perks, like, oh yeah, you can get this power moon because you look like a construction worker. So that's something I really loved about Mario Odyssey, and it also just has a lot of content. I mean, you've got your like base power moons that you could find, and there are just constantly more being unleashed upon you as you progress through the game for one reason or another, as well as lots of nods to just really cool things within the Mario universe. New Donk City is kind of like the marketing point for Mario Odyssey. Everybody saw it before the game was released. Pauline, look at that. And even having Jump Up Superstar, if you've seen on my channel, I'm quite a fan of that song, enough to rewrite it for a certain other subgenre. So that's kind of like my abridged answer of why I loved Odyssey, and I'm sure, as you heard it on other lists here as well, it's pretty darn good.
So, as someone who did not play Odyssey, I love Mario games. I've played them before. I just didn't get around to playing Odyssey this year. Where would you put it on like your Mario list?
It's my number one.
platform?
It's actually
It's
my
in
number
the
one.
Elder God tier.
It
of
is Elder
Mario
God tier, and I'll add one last thing that I didn't mention.
It sits comfortably below Super Mario Bros. 2.
Which is
and
amazing.
well below Mario Sunshine.
There you go. Well, Conrad's a special case. His taste is some of my favorite in the world, but I mean in games. So yeah, one more thing to mention: the entire game is 2-player. One player can control Cappy, and I just think that really plays a great deal of what makes the Nintendo Switch such a great console. I think part of what makes Mario so fun to play as well, because you can take it with you if you want to, but you can pass that second Joy-Con to a friend and they can control the hat, and that one makes the game significantly easier, but it also it's fun. Like, you get to play the game with 2 players, and it's not just tacked on like it was in Mario Galaxy. It's actually got some immersive like gameplay experience to it. So that's one of the reasons I also love Mario Odyssey.
What can Cappy do if second player's doing it?
Just
'Cause,
about
like, what I
everything
saw, it
Mario's
looked like it
doing.
was Galaxy levels of a co-op.
No, Cappy can do almost everything Mario can do, short of like the levels of jumps, and then more, because Cappy can knock things out of the sky, possess things, can ground pound, so like that aspect is not unique to Mario. Can collect coins. Like Cappy is just having a second Mario on the screen that can do things and also possess them.
It's like a happy marriage between the new Super Mario Bros. Where they have so much control they can fuck you up. Am I allowed to say that?
You just did, so let's carry on.
Okay, fuck you over. Between that and Mario Galaxy, where it's a snooze fest to be the second player because you're just shooting star bits, also consuming the currency while doing that.
Yeah, the easiest way to explain it, your Mario's stand in this game. Like, there you go.
That was like a day one video.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's my number 3. Alex, let's hear yours. What do you got?
All right. For my number 3, I actually put Breath of the Wild on there. I've been a huge Zelda fan for my entire life, and Breath of the Wild was like a breath of fresh air for me. Like, in terms of like the evolution of the series that it underwent. I thought it was I had a really wonderful time with it, and I mean, I understand. I know that a lot of people say that it's overrated and stuff, and that's probably true because it's like the highest. Now, it is the highest rated video game of all time. and I think that
It's
it
not
still
a
has
perfect game.
It's not a perfect
No.
game. No, and I recognize that it's not a perfect game. However, it perfectly like catered to my tastes of what I want in an open world game, which is just to be able to like go in any direction and fuck with whatever I want with. And it was really nice. I thought that the environments were so well crafted, every mechanic works so well together, and just creating this like perfect little ball of it's the perfect sandbox to me, at least, of being able to just like screw around with whatever I
I
want.
think the biggest issue and the reason why it didn't make it to my top 3 was that I played it on the Wii U. Just preface this, so if this is a Wii U specific issue, game looks so beautiful, and yet game will just chug, and I can't stand that in an open world game. On top of all the little gameplay mechanic kind of nuances that I didn't care for, like weapons break way too fast. But in terms of like actual gameplay, like this game is like up there with like Metal Gear Solid 5 in terms of like, oh my god, I cannot believe how much fun I'm having with all the mechanics that this game's giving me. Like this game gives you everything. But then it also falls into the same problem of Metal Gear Solid 5 of everything outside of gameplay kind of falls flat.
I can understand what you're going with on that one for sure. Yeah,
I like getting a bunch of dispensable items, but I also like some sort of permanent progression for like all the effort I'm putting in, which you do with the shrine,
sword,
the master sword,
and the armor,
the armors that you get.
The armor, you buy with money,
or crap.
Was anybody else like particularly like disappointed with the dragons? Like, I guess we're in like spoiler territory for those of you.
Oh, the weird like no clipping.
Yeah, was it 3 dragons? I think it was 3 dragons.
Yeah,
and
there are 3 dragons.
First time you run into
the no clip particle,
you are just
dragons.
like, oh my god, I'm gonna kill that at one point. And then it's just a little marathon game of I need to chase him down and hit him with an arrow.
I can empathize with the first.
It's almost like they're an enemy that you're not supposed to kill because they're like good guys.
So I mean, I'll just go one ahead of you and say I pulled out my camera, took a picture, and then read the description in the Hyrule Encyclopedia, and it was very clear. It does not attack people. Oh, all right then. So like that was my expectations were set from the beginning. Like, oh,
I mean, it kind of attack. They all kind of attack people.
They have
I
like
find any documentation on it when I found it. So
you gotta check your Pokedex, dude.
That was neat.
Guess my Neanderthal brain just immediately assumes cool thing must be killed.
Jorge Brainlet.
I put too many hours in the big monster. I think I must kill.
That's
phrase
fair.
Commonly uttered by Jorge when encountered with.
Excellent. So right on, Breath of the Wild. Jorge, what is your number 3?
My number 3 was I noted in my top 10 that I love Metroid games, and this game, even though a Metroid game came out this year, was honestly the best Metroidvania experience I had this year, and it is Hollow Knight. If you don't know what Hollow Knight is, it was a little indie game that came out this year. It is essentially like someone thought, hey, what's in right now? Dark Souls. Okay, let's do that. And then made a Metroidvania with a lot of difficulty, and just, man, everything about this game for me just it works. It's really, really well drawn. It's got such a nice atmosphere. The little bit of story that they give you, it pulls a lot of inspiration from Dark Souls, and yet it has that beautiful progression system of a Metroidvania where you're just running around the map, you're doing all this little platforming, and then you're just getting little upgrades that here and there, all of a sudden you get to move to new locations. You get to go back and go and get this new item that you couldn't get before. And I'm a sucker for that gameplay for me. And I love games that you do a lot of exploring. So for me, Hollow Knight was just really special, and I thought it was like such a high quality product that I really didn't hear anyone talking about. And it was a Metroidvania, like a genre that is so desperate for new games that are good and unique. And I felt like this game did a great job of blending things that have really become popular, like Dark Souls, with the Metroidvania genre.
Fair enough. Yeah, I myself did not play it. I'd heard it mentioned many times, and to be honest with you, when I had heard it mentioned many times, I assumed it was another expansion for Shovel Knight.
It does kind of sound like that.
I completely assumed it was a standalone new Shovel Knight thing.
I need to do the run back and play the DLC expansions for Shovel Knight.
And that's
I love
exactly what I'm
Shovel
talking
Knight.
about.
Man, I have not tried it out yet.
Is it
This
like
is some
it's
kind of
after
Rain
Plague
World
Knight? It's
bullshit.
Hollow Knight. Like,
Well, yeah. So I
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut us off for a little bit, but like the
I'm gonna get to my
Spectre
number 2.
Knight- yeah, well, whatever. Spectre Knight, the Spectre Knight DLC for Shovel Knight is killer. Like it's a really good. I like it a lot more than the Plague Knight, just because Plague Knight doesn't feel very comfortable to play, but Spectre Knight is like so smooth.
it's cozy.
How long are the expansions? Like, how many hours are they?
They're like the same as the base game.
Oh wow.
What?
Yeah.
All right, guys, go
Great.
check out the Shovel Knight DLC.
Oh yeah. Also, if you
Okay,
haven't done
Shovel
Shovel
Knight,
Knight,
you
like
haven't
drop
gotten it.
everything. Shovel Knight's the best platform that's come out in the last decade.
But also go buy Hollow Knight. It totally deserves your money, team. Like Team Cherry did a great job with that game. Pick it up.
Oh,
please.
it's Yacht Club.
Throws back to Hollow Knight. Awesome. So, any quick notes before we move on to Conrad's number 3?
Oh.
All right, cool. Conrad, what do you got? What's your number 3?
My number 3 is the Bandy Boy himself, Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Man, it's just breathing of nostalgia this year.
Yeah, but it's like places much higher on the list because it is not a direct port. They did have to build that from the ground up to play exactly like Crash Bandicoot, the original releases, and to do that with a PlayStation 1 game with all the jittery like Z-axis vectors and like the funny tessellating. Well, they didn't do that because that's not what it looks like. But to emulate that same feeling of hopelessness on Bridge to Nowhere and Stormy Ascent, the free DLC. Well, you know what? I'm not going to give it brownie points for having free DLC because that is a level they cut because it was too hard in the remake due to like a very small fuck up. But it's like the one mess up. There we go. It's the one little like fluke that the guy who was in charge of getting everything right made was like how the platforms work, and that there was some sort of from what I read, I'm not smart. I couldn't make this note. I couldn't write this down myself. I just felt that something was off with some of the jumps. Someone found out that they were using like a rounded edge and some sort of hitbox calc. They were
Conrad
using
also
Game
brainlet.
Sphere tech. Yeah.
I personally didn't know anyone who got the Insane Trilogy. I just saw like all the hype
Okay.
about the fact that the Insane Trilogy happened. To be fair, Connor, I didn't even know you got it until the very second.
I streamed that to like Alexander Warnke for a night.
That was weird that you like said his full name.
Yeah.
Emphasis, Game Sphere. It's spherical.
But it's all three of the Crash Bandicoot games, right?
Is
Yeah.
it all 3 of the original games? Well, I mean, it's
Yep.
trilogy, so I would imagine it's 3.
Yeah, that's why.
Crash Bandicoot 1, Crash Bandicoot 2, Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex.
How much did
Forsaken
it?
the 3.
How much were they selling it for?
that's worth.
Was it like a $60 title?
It was a $40 title.
Oh, very
Um,
nice, very nice.
$31.99 before tax if you have a Best Buy Gamers Club unlocked.
There you go.
Yeah,
And,
because we need to shill Best Buy.
Yeah. It's the best.
We're not
$30 for
Best
2
Buy
years
guys.
worth of subscription. We'll also give you 2 years. And your pre-orders will arrive on time. You disgruntled Amazon Primeans. But
There you
that's
go.
my endorsement. Anyway, but yeah, Crash Bandicoot the Insane Trilogy, back to the game itself. No, it gave me a chance to replay a game that I couldn't beat when I was a child, plus the 2 sequels. I had like 3 games on the PS1 as a kid. One was like a Space Jam disc that just played as music. It was Spyro. And the other one, I had Rayman, but like I beat that even less than I did Crash Bandicoot,
Yeah.
which I had. Yeah, no, Rayman I didn't Beavers, Mr. Dark is still
Rayman
at
was
large.
too much, man.
As far as my memory card's concerned, if it's not like deteriorated, Mr. Dark is still out there.
I still think about Rayman 64 when someone talks.
So whoever was after Big Band Land like that, they're still at large.
They're still at large. They've yet to be captured or defeated. Yeah, no, and
absolutely.
I do, a note about Crash. Like, you're right, Jorge. You mean people did go like, "Oh my God, Crash Bandicoot," and they got
the
really
Dark Souls of
excited.
platformers.
They got really excited, but aside from Conrad, I don't know anybody who went out of their way to get it. Nor do I know anybody who gave it more attention than like just Crash Bandicoot as a meme over the year.
Oh,
So-
God,
Yeah,
that's-
like the only thing that I heard about this game through the interwebs was that people were just amazed at how difficult it was because guess what? Games that were made in when was the PlayStation one? Like 2000 were really freaking hard.
It's not just that. It's just like, well, it and Rayman are both outside. What's the word for this? Outliers. Like they're really hard for no real reason.
Yeah, Rayman was obscenely difficult.
Rayman was jeepers.
Oh my god! I when I played Rayman 2 on the N64, I don't think I ever beat that game, and I tried real hard.
Yeah.
As a huge fan of the Rayman series, I've never played 2, which is like the most.
Is Rayman 2
People love
Rayman
Rayman
64? I
A
just
lot of
remember the
people-
one on
Rayman 2 is
64.
Rayman Dreamcast, Rayman 64, Rayman
Okay.
2, the better PC
Electric
edition.
Boogaloo.
Rayman DS is a port of Rayman 2 with a different name. Rayman 2 VC Virtual Console Edition.
Turbo
Like-
HD remix. But
Yeah.
back to our.
It's
our
like
top
the
three.
Resident
arcade.
It's like the Resident Evil 4 of Rayman.
Yeah.
They remade it
Ooh.
over a million times.
Yeah.
All right, so back to
But
our
anyway.
back to our proper list.
I love Crash Bandicoot: The Insane Trilogy. Buy it.
There you go. Possibly with your Best Buy Gamers Club unlocked. But anyway,
Yeah.
so
Guys.
moving
Don't
on.
tell them I sent you. You don't get anything for it, and I don't either.
So give them Conrad's phone numbers. You can get the points. So moving back on to my number 2. So this one probably does not come to a surprise to anyone who knows what games I enjoy. But my number 2 is actually one of my most anticipated for the year. It definitely delivered. It was Danganronpa V3. And this game delivered for me in so many ways. Now, Conrad already addressed Danganronpa in his previous list, but to kind of
I
give
like it.
those listening what this series is, it's essentially a murder mystery series with visual novel elements that translate into then point and click, followed by a trial in which you have to basically shoot like a first person shooter, shoot testimonies out of the sky using evidence like a bullet. Truth bullets, as they're called in English, kotodama in Japanese. The series
What is this anime bullshit?
It is quite literally anime bullshit. It is.
I'm glad they don't change the
extremely
winning formula
anime.
from 1 and 2.
It
I'm not
has
surprised
changed
it's so
the
high on
formula.
your list then.
No, and this is the reason. So like I have a lot of reasons I love Danganronpa. For starters, I was a huge Ace Attorney fan for a long time, and Ace Attorney for me, I got bored at a certain point. Like I didn't like when they transitioned to 3D models rather than using traditional 2D sprites. And Danganronpa to this day still uses 2D sprites, with the exception of a spin-off game that is a third-person shooter. So that was something I really appreciate, is that the sprites are still used, they're still made, they're high resolution, but they're still 2D sprites. And the game itself also had, as a sequel to the Danganronpa franchise, giving us not a sequel in terms of story, but this is a new game experience. It was also kind of like pitched as a reboot. This game delivers in every way what a third title in a series should bring. You can look at other video game franchises. People love Devil May Cry 3. I love Metal Gear Solid 3, right? This is everything that we've gotten up to this point. This is like the highest level of it, and they didn't ruin any of the execution of those things. They tried some new stuff. They added some cool mechanics. I definitely prefer it, but what was great about this game was not just the fact that it came with so much exciting, interesting story, which you can replay, but there's not a whole lot of incentive to, but it was all the post-game content. Danganronpa V3 was loaded up with bonus content that you would be paying so much more money for if this was another company. The amount of DLC tier content in this game. We're talking an entire RPG style dungeon crawler, a board game which is loaded to the brim with fan service, having because it is like a character based game, having a mode which they always have had where you can go in and talk to the characters and get to know them without there being a murder going on. So it's got all this extra content and it's free. It's just part
Is
of
that
the
like a Mario
package.
Party mode? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
no, it's basically so it's not Mario Party in the sense that you are playing against other characters. What you're doing is you're using the board game to level up your characters so that later, once you finish the board game, you then can use them in the dungeon crawler. So it is really cool because it's like an extra level of gameplay, but what's really great about that is it takes every single Danganronpa game and puts them into the same, like, what if all 3 games were all at the same school at the same time? And then you can see amazing interactions between the characters from all 3 of the games. So in terms of fan service, this game completely delivered on everything I wanted from a Danganronpa game. And
See, I wanted to make sure that when you're saying fan service that you weren't talking about the acid.
No.
Service.
So like there's
Conqueror.
definitely some of that in Danganronpa, but it is not a main focus in any way. Like it appears because it's Japanese and like it's anime tier.
Anime.
But no, when I mean fan service, I mean like what would these two characters who've never interacted before say if they interacted with each other? They give
so
you that.
official fan fiction.
Like official, yeah, like it's just throwing all that stuff together. So like when I go to conventions dressed up as Nidai, I can tell you exactly what he would say to this character because they've just told us. So yeah, it's that kind of stuff. So it's just a lot of bonus content. It's not part of the main story, but it's just again loaded to the brim with extra bonus content. Fun dungeon crawler thing that's very difficult, like an old school RPG. It's a very content rich game, and even just the base game itself, the mechanics that they improved on during the trials. New characters were great. Just overall complete package, great experience, highly recommend it. So this isn't necessarily one of the best games made all year, but this was, for me, this is my favorite games of 2017. Danganronpa V3 definitely goes to number 2.
So how much does this visual novel go for?
You can buy it for the Vita or for the PS4 at standard prices, so you can put it in that, and it has cross save. It's also on it's also on Steam. So you can buy it in a lot of ways. It does have cross save for the Vita and the PS4, so you can go back and forth. But I actually played it on Vita, and it's even more beautiful on the PS4. The demo is available, so you can also check that out. So it's
if you want to, you can screencast to the Vita or whatever they call it.
There's a lot of stuff that you can do that's very.
If you buy it for Vita, if you buy it for PS.
It's a great series that I've always loved, and for 2017, I got everything I wanted out of V3. All right, Alex.
All right.
I will not charge you $1 over MSRP sticker price for Danganronpa V3.
So
I'd buy that
right,
truck for $1.
So my number 2 was a game that I actually haven't finished, but even though I haven't finished it, the amount of like just awesome shit that they shoved in this game is Yakuza 0.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh,
so
God.
So Yakuza 0 was my first is my first foray into the Yakuza series. I've got Conrad actually gifted me Kiwami for Christmas, and I'm very excited to play that eventually.
No pressure.
And oh my gosh, like Yakuza 0 is just a amazing time. The entire time is just like intrigue and really satisfying combat in like an open world game that I haven't got since like I guess Sleeping Dogs. Like it scratches the same.
That is the closest
Isn't
thing.
that how I
that
pitched
would
it
be
to
for
you
you.
when I said to play it? Didn't I tell you like Sleeping Dogs explicitly?
It's Sleeping Dogs, but meaner.
I mean, maybe. I mean, so like the reason I got Yakuza 0 was because I got it from GameFly, and I've had it now for like 4 or 5 months because I still haven't beaten it. But it just kind of showed up, and I was like, "Oh, Yakuza 0, that came out," and I've heard, and like you and Kevin and other people had really good things to say about it. I'm like, I had no doubt in my mind that I was gonna like it just from all of the things that I had like seen from it, and like man, like that second Kuze fight in the
pipeway,
in the sewer pipe.
Dude, I was
experienced
watching
that
that fight. That was so hype. This game, honestly, I've only watched him play it. And this game is hype to watch.
It's
like,
so hype.
I would watch a let's play of this game. Like, there is some crazy, insane drama in this game, and it's so fun to watch.
And not even just the core, like the core game is just so killer, and then it's got the same kind of stuff that Danganronpa V3 has, which is just so much other shit.
There's
that's
so
stuffed
much
into
content.
It. There's just too much to do. Like you can bet on women fighting. You can play. You can go.
You're not
bowling.
endorsing you go betting on women.
No,
fighting.
no, you can do it in Yakuza 0.
If the women want to go fight, like if they're not like being forced to fight, then yeah, I'll bet on like a consensual female match of some sort. I don't know.
Are there not female MMA fighters, Jorge? Come on.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yeah.
And these girls in this game definitely fight like they're MMA fighters, and crossed with like crazy wrestling.
And so, so there's also so many different mini games. It's got one of the coolest rhythm like mini games I've played in a very long time, and all of the mini games are multiplayer, and it's just it's a really, really solid title that if like, I mean, I don't really have a greater context of the series, but I would say that Yakuza 0 is good a place as any to get into the series now.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 2. Yakuza 0 is just so good.
I actually, I have a confession that I tied Mario and Yakuza 0, but because I knew like this was on your list, I was like, Alex got this. It's that good. Like it's such a good experience, and
I'll let the game and Alex speak for itself.
Culturally, as well, like it gives me like throwbacks to walking around at night. Not in like, well, maybe in Shinsekai, that was like the closest to the Kamurocho parts of Japan. But anyway, yeah, it just the Irashaimase, going in, buying like real products in the store, like all that stuff. It's just really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and the side stories. Every person that you
these
help.
like really unique plots, like every single one of them, I can never tell what's going on. Like there's a side story where you like teach a
the dominatrix.
Yeah, the dominatrix. You teach a dominatrix how to be a dominatrix, and it's just so weird.
Cool.
And oh man. Also,
you can go into a jerk off booth in the game. It's like the game is just everywhere.
It's just
everywhere.
I'm just
everywhere.
that.
They got booths in every corner. Wall to wall.
Paint the town red or other colors. But yeah, Yakuza 0, go play it.
Yeah. So, Jorge, what's your number 2?
Actually, if I may interject, I'm so sorry, but speaking of Yakuza Kiwami, Alex, if you don't ever get to playing that, it'll still be worth it because of that steelbook case.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Also, yeah,
it's
the
gorgeous.
Steelbook. It's so
Shout out to
gorgeous.
whoever was in charge of making that.
Yeah.
Whoever drew that fish.
Sega did Sega, like Yakuza alone is like, yo, great.
Yeah.
Fist of the North Star when?
Oh my god, I'm so excited for that game, and I saw gameplay footage of that, and that shit looks rad as hell. It's got driving mini games too.
Ooh, right. Can you upgrade the car? Yeah, we'll talk about this later.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll
another day. Jorge, number 2, go.
Well, my number 2, it should have been my number 1, but I just spent more personal time with number 1. But number 2 was Divinity Original Sin 2.
Tell me more.
I just if you play D&D, you need.
Wait a minute, I
try
like
it
that game.
out.
Yeah,
like
good one.
just
Right.
This game is essentially every single cool and fun thing that you played from like the old school Western RPGs. It just has so much stuff in it. Like I can't believe how much stuff there is in this game. I have played 60 hours of this game. I'm in the final stretch of it, and I had to pull through so many side quests. Like there's just it's a little bit like Yakuza 0. Like there's just so much stuff in this game, and it's all so interesting. And the craziest part about all this stuff is that you have so much player choice in this game. Cannot believe you can play the entire game except for the boss fights without ever doing combat. Like this game is literally D&D. They somehow managed to make a D&D game in a video game form, and it feels like they ask you to break it. They ask you.
It feels freeform. It feels like true freeform roleplay.
This is the closest to do whatever you want, create your own story in a video game, I feel, without it being like Minecraft, essentially. Like I cannot give enough recommendations to this game if you like Western RPGs, if you like turn-based tactic games. Any excuse, please check out this game, and like you will get your money's worth. Like these guys put so much love and so much cool shit in this game. It still blows my mind how much. And you can run an entire D&D campaign in this game. There's a map maker and everything. It is such a good. You get so much bang for your buck. You get so much bang for your buck in this game.
Local digital retailer.
Steam.
Yeah.
$59.99, I think, or is it $50 right now? I don't know, but just go play Divinity.
Just buy it, yeah.
And it's all co-op.
But
it is co-op,
and it works very well. It uses Steamworks, right? So you don't got to port forward in. All right, there you go. No port forwarding, no Hamachi, no Game Ranger, no.
Oh, and this isn't like that co-op. Like the second player is like tagging along. second player can go and just do his own
Drop in,
storyline.
drop out. Yep.
It's
Yeah, no, you're not.
I've
This is
said enough.
You're not Crypto from Destroy All Humans 2. You don't got a little collar on you with your friend.
Oh
You can
man,
be doing.
I'm so amazed that you thinking of just
Shout out to number 2 on my list.
Yeah.
Destroy All Humans 2.
I can't believe you brought up Destroy All Humans because I was thinking about that game today. I'm amazed that you brought up this game. But then again, we both used our Master Ball on a shelter. I'm not surprised.
Oh, there you go. Not
What was the name of that studio? They also did Mercenaries and
Pandemic Studios.
yeah, Pandemic Studios.
Pandemic,
Guys,
really. But
Yeah,
actually,
so-
Jorge, we've been on this one for a little bit, but actually, as someone who loved Original Sin, is the armor system in Original Sin 2, is that worth being a point of contention? I've heard
so
I've
this
heard
is the
feelings
thing
about it.
for gameplay. The game does require you to kind of min-max if you want to do combat because you need to have a party that can do physical damage and magical damage, and you can't do any CC if their armor is up. But if you know what you're doing, it really isn't that hard to play around with. You just have to
Is
cater
it
your
kind of
style to it.
like Mass Effect with like the biotic armor? You have to get rid of biotic.
Yes,
ability.
no, that's a good analogy, and I would say that
Their
if,
integrity.
I would say that if you just do a little bit of homework and you don't just go like, I want to play this and this is the only way I want to play, it's not really going to be a problem. I mean, like,
Well, I'm a huge
Tele-
pet summoner build, not-
teleportation alone kind of super.
Super what now?
Super.
He teleported away. Look, he proved his point.
The game just, you can break the game in so many ways that I don't really think it's an issue.
Well, can I skip like the Brachus Rex plus all 3 bosses before this fight? Is there one of those in this game? Because that was pretty awful.
No, I don't think
That was a pretty awful
fights.
part of like Act 1 in Divinity Original Sin.
I don't think you can skip the boss fights, but I might be wrong. Who knows? This game
Who
is.
knows? Keep an eye out for like my 80% speed run AG. Where we-
No, you're bringing that Pikachu game to it's an AGDQ. That's what you're playing. No one speedruns that game as fast as you, Pocket Monster.
Pocket Monster Super Famicom.
Any percent. Excellent. So Conrad, other than
Cool.
that game, what is your number 2?
Jeepers. Alright, just to cool our jets and get back to Earth with Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. That's my number
Nintendo
2,
made
by the
XCOM.
way. My number 2, Game of the Year 2017, Mario plus Rabbids, Kingdom Battle. Had a good time with it. You might have heard of it, you might not have. It's a light XCOM 2. It's a light XCOM with a Mario reskin. A lot of people say, oh, it's like XCOM, but with Mario characters. It's really... That's a bit of a strong bridge. It's just because there's no other game like closer like it than XCOM that I can think of off the top of my head. But you don't collect an army of like 30 plus veterancy warriors with customizable skill trees and whatnot. You only have a set of like up to 10 predefined characters. You got Luigi, you got Rabbid Luigi, you got Mario, you got Rabbid Mario, you got Peach, you got Rapid Peach. You've got.
I think we get it.
Okay. Oh no! But let me just say, this game was an absolute surprise, and I wish I could talk more about it in depth. I just haven't played it in quite a few months. Like, I had a good time. I was among the people who didn't lash out at the game because I was too lazy. I don't write on forums, so I don't actually lash out at anything. But I sympathize with people saying this is stupid. Like this is awful. Who signed off on like adding the Rabbids brand to like anything Nintendo? It worked out really well. You know what? Just to get a feel for my surprise, like go ahead and Google Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle promo like right now, and the first result you'll get under the images tab. I'll give you some moments, please. Go to google.com, search Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle promo.
Google.com.
Yeah,
First result.
I got it.
Now, yeah, cool. This teaser came out early 2017. Now, who could be excited about this? Who could be excited about like Mario, Rabbid Mario, the Explosive Head, and Rabbid the Explosive Head? or like hashtag Babby / hashtag no filter. Like who could
have been? This is what I've been waiting for.
Who expected this to be good?
Man, yeah.
I don't think a single person expected it to be good, and then and then everyone saw what it was. It was like, what?
That's why it's called a gem.
I apologize for not going too much into depth about the game itself and more like the controversy surrounding it and just my mixed feelings. The roller coaster of emotions this game put me through over the course of 2017.
Yo, like, all right, I'm looking at this picture of Mario next to Rabid Mario. Rabid Mario just looks like some kind of weird, like, 80s porno plumber.
Oh my god, he does.
Wow. And true to form, he does not wear ties.
Oh man.
So,
God bless you, Conrad. God bless you.
Anything else about Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom
I
Battle?
mean, yeah, one thing
Ubisoft
is
have a name for the rabbits? Like, do they have names?
Like the
No,
names
they're
of
just
the
called
rabbits
Rabbids.
themselves. It's like they're just the minions of video games.
well, there's like one on the front there. It's #Babby. That's like the main character.
Oh my god.
But actually, I would like to note like the gameplay outside of the battles themselves is like a little bit of world exploration, very light, linear, but it is kind of neat to walk around. If you look at the vistas, you can get your little robot Roomba companion to talk about it for a little bit.
Hold the phone.
The whole setting's
The
a
Mario Rabbit is named the Macho Man. Let's just add to the add to the plot device.
Exactly. Just like again to further emphasize, who expected this to be any good? Good game. It's much less about like your character's levels and equipment. Now that does play a big part in it. Than it is about like your interactions with the environment in each battle. I mean, any sort of 5-minute review of this game will tell you that it's mostly about interactions with the environment. Instead of out DPSing your opponent, while you can do that in some scenarios, it's more about like pushing them off ledges, not landing yourself in a bad place, knowing that the higher ground is probably best.
You can't win.
Yeah, and every battle like introduces
percentages
something.
in this game, like an XCOM. Like, can you just have like RNG ruin a perfectly good run?
Absolutely, but
Okay.
Yes.
it can ruin a turn, but I mean like it's still, there's an aiming. It's less, you will not have as many 98% accuracy sniper misses like a critical shot moments. Like really the accuracy is varied from exactly 100% to exactly 50% in a lot of cases.
I will not have the barrel of my rifle in the jaws of an alien and miss.
Yeah. And like
Never
the boss
again.
fights really benefit from the way like this game works. You'll get more out of a 5-minute review than like of this game than you will from me rambling about it. But at the very least, I'd like to ask you to, if you haven't considered this game, go ahead and look up a video of it and decide, hey, I want to spend like a couple days playing this. This would be nice.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, if you dismissed it because of the funny boys on the cover.
The funny boys.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I guess that brings us around to our number
A weird
ones,
screaming
right?
infant.
Yeah, that's really what they really are.
Yeah.
Yo, never forget Serious Sam. Serious Sam screaming demolition men. All right. So moving on to our number one. This is everybody's favorite game of 2017. Now, once again, starting with myself, it was already brought up in someone else's top 3, but my favorite game of 2017 was The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And a lot of the reasons were addressed, but some extra stuff. For me as a personal experience, sure, the game starts off like especially difficult because you have so few hearts and no armor. But for me, just that feeling of like, wow, what'll happen if I try out this thing, and then something does happen, or it's one of those games where you try something that you think like, oh well, it's a video game, so like this won't work, but then it does because they did incorporate it. Like you do have that kind of freedom. I need to cross this water somehow. Cut down a tree. You can ride on a log. Like all these little things.
I just spammed cryo freeze.
What's that?
I just spammed like the cryo freeze.
That is an option, sure. But we can do that in our own way. That's what makes it have that kind of freedom. You have the choice to play how you want to play. I did not mind so much the weapons breaking. The only criticism for me that was like, what was the point, is horses in that game. The horses, like, because they get so lost from you, you can't call them. Like, oh, we've been removed too far from each other, so they don't hear me calling them.
It's kind of weird.
That's it, though.
I do appreciate though that the state was saved on the horse. Like it never disappeared, or
yeah, it's just always chilling there.
I shut down the game in like April, came back to it a couple months ago, and my horse still chilling at like the ranch by Gerudo Valley.
Yeah, and so like there's a lot of that kind of stuff happening in it.
Yeah.
Another thing that I really enjoyed was I do enjoy like the different outfits and stuff. A lot of this was really like a deconstruction of a Zelda game because it so deviates from previous entries in the game. It's not going to the dungeon to get the specific piece of equipment that works in that particular dungeon and will be used mostly exclusively in that dungeon and maybe once in like the final dungeon. Looking at you spinning top from Twilight Princess.
No.
You know, it didn't have those. Like, the equipment that you actually have in this game is all extremely useful. It pretty much boils down to your basic weapons and, you know, your bow and arrow and your sword, and, like, that's it. Everything else, you know, bombs are constantly, you know, like, you get your toolkit in the beginning of the game, and then it's like, all right, go have fun with it. And,
yeah, you
know,
never
I really
get a
appreciate
new ability outside of like combat abilities.
That's
out of
actually
the
a
starting
complaint
zone.
I had.
I
was,
agree. I actually wish that they had some items rewarded for winning.
I want more
the
toys.
dungeons.
Like I got all of them at the start.
I
and it was
love that
great,
part of
which I-
Zelda personally. Like I like getting new things. I mean, I'm a Metroidvania fan. Like it.
Sure, that makes sense,
I love
yeah.
upgrades.
I would not like ask for them to stagger the stuff that we got at the start. I think that was a perfectly acceptable toolkit, but I would like more stuff like throughout, just more toys to play with later on that I could find at my
Breath of the
leisure.
Wild 2 is going to be really good.
But I would not ask for it to be like what Stan was talking about, which I really appreciate is that we didn't get like the spinning top.
Yeah,
like
it's the most useless weapon. Now, I will bring up, I was actually talking about it today, and then it occurred to me, and I'm sure many people noticed this, like, Breath of the Wild really is just, let's take all the mechanics of Shadow of the Colossus and make a Zelda game. Because, like, it's the same weapons. The climbing, right? All this stuff that you use in Shadow of the Colossus that makes it a fun experience, and that, but there is stuff to do in the world. It was also something interesting was like I felt a lot more of like, wow, the world that they live in is really messed up because of Ganon, and like these people do go through a lot of hardships every single day. Like Wind Waker was like one of the last Zelda games that gave that feeling because like the whole world is submerged in water. But this is actively, people are probably dying every day walking.
Oh yeah, the living people felt so out of place, but I love that.
They are struggling, and I felt their struggle, and I felt like, wow, Link really is this thing. Like that.
And it breeds these strange characters like the Flower Island lady. And like,
yeah, it just, I felt like, the shrines and the actual Divine Beast dungeons are the closest we get to traditional dungeons in the game. But that's okay. I had more fun just running around doing stuff. And even the aspect of, like, the easiest way to make money is just to kill things and then sell what you get from there, but, like, sell monster parts. Okay.
Dungeons are my least favorite part of any Zelda game. Yeah, and they're really well done, but that's, like, Wind Waker was my favorite game up until this point in the series.
Right. And
like, I agree with you.
Yeah, and like, being able to say, like, yeah, people would pay top dollar for all these different monster parts because they are hard to acquire, because you have to fight monsters. And, like, Link has this unique ability to be able to teleport anywhere at any time, but what about other people who don't have a Sheikah Slate? Like, oh, Guardian spotted me, well, better write my will. Like, that's the end. And hopefully you have enough seconds to do that before it shoots you. But there's just, there's a lot of empty space in the game, but I like that empty space. I had a good time moving through that empty space. I didn't feel like I was doing nothing. I was exploring and I was adventuring, and it made me feel like I felt the first time I played a Zelda game when I was a kid. And I was like, wow, look at this. It's a game. I'm playing a video game, and I'm getting lost in that game. Yeah. And I love it. So that's...
It did give me that same sense.
Yeah, that is why it went to my number one spot, because it reminded me of why I love video games so much as a medium, because I just felt so free. So that's...
One thing, though, is... Yeah. You know what? I'm so sorry.
Go ahead, Conrad. Sorry.
Thank you. That's okay. No, and actually, I want to apologize for aggressively interrupting you while you were trying to present that, Stan. It's just I have so many things that I'd like to contribute to that conversation. Like, that's what Breath of the Wild does. And I agree with you on pretty much every point you make and want to expand on it. With the whole world being handcrafted, like, it wasn't randomly generated. None of it was. All of it was kind of placed by hand. I do wish that they could have gone out of the way to make a few more unique landmarks. Now, there were some, but like those giant open spaces you were talking about, I liked the little spots like that Pharos Shrine over in like the weird tropical area down south.
Oh yeah, the Dragon River.
Yeah, that you get like the Thunder Spear from if you turn in one of Pharos's scales, like the yellow guy.
Yeah,
the yellow particle effect. Yeah, okay. I liked those little spots, but I mean, they had a lot of opportunity to put little funny things in nooks. Like, I would have liked little things like that monkey family in Halo 3's opening level.
I know.
Like, I would have liked cute little things like that. There were a lot of prefabs, and like they could have had little
all
things.
your Korok seeds, dude?
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
I do. I like the Korok seed challenges. I just want something else in between them. I do like the Korok.
I would like more landmarks as well. I do agree with you. That would be nice.
Yeah, just landmarks. That's an easier way to say it, is just landmarks.
Yeah.
You know what's the moment where Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild lost its like charm on me? When I accidentally dashed into a Guardian and then it just knocked over. I was just like, oh my god. Nothing in this level actually is a threat to me.
Powered by
everything's a pushover. Everything's a pushover until you play Triforce Challenge mode. But like I felt like everything in that game presented itself at the very beginning of just like, oh man, you gotta really be careful.
You know, I don't know.
You get like one or two kind of like upgrades. It's okay.
It does, yeah. It does level the experience.
I mean, that's not really
where
the game is trying to shine.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not supposed to be It's not supposed to be.
You get better at landing hits and you get better at avoiding hits, but I don't think at any point did they stop hitting hard. Like, I got
your armor just
I didn't
gets
finish
better.
the game. But even when I got like the knight armor, like the highest defense class that I could find, available at the time, and I'd like gotten a few hearts from shrines and whatever, and investing them in the funny demon statue.
I guess it mostly just comes from the fact that
I still
like
got like a chunk of my health taken off with every hit.
in the plateau, you run into a guardian, and then the first time you get hit by lasers, you're just like, oh.
Oh yeah,
okay. Like this is an area of denial. I cannot get close to this thing.
Guardians are still a pain in the ass to fight until you get the Master Sword, and then they're not that big of a deal. But until you get like,
no, dude, you use your horse and you just run right past them or knock them over. It's not that difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, but
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I have already given my.
Yeah. It's but no, it is like I said, for the reasons I gave, that's why I had the most fun playing. And also, yeah, I did not play it on the Wii U, I played it on the Switch, and when I lost power during a hurricane, I had Breath of the Wild on a portable device, and let me tell you, was that a great week.
Oh yeah, I can see
seriously.
That. Oh, you know what? Actually, one reason why it went way down I started it up a couple months ago, and like it was blurry as hell. I don't remember it being so hard to see things in the background. I started off in the Zora domain with it raining, by the way.
Okay.
But then I lifted up the rain, and I don't know, it just got it was very fuzzy.
Well, enough of my number one. Alex, let's hear what you got. I know it's going to surprise some people. It's great.
Oh man, so my number one is probably not exactly the same as a lot of people's number one, but my number one was ARMS. And for the Nintendo Switch, which was just like the biggest surprise of 2017 for me, because like I knew Zelda was going to be good, and it was. I knew Mario was going to be good, and it was. ARMS was like, wow, that looks really interesting. It has a really awesome visual style that I appreciate. All the character designs are very unique, and the gameplay seems like nothing I've ever seen before. And boy, howdy was it. Man, ARMS is just like, I think I put the most amount of time into ARMS out of any video game that I played this year. and I've loved every second of it. Not to mention like all of the free DLC that they incorporated throughout the entire year, which was 4 new characters, 12 new arms, and 4 new stages, which was really amazing. Not to mention their like event, like Splatfest-esque events that they would have every few weeks, which is really nice. And also just like it's a fighting game that anyone can play. And
This is such a huge like surprise.
It's much more about prediction and decision making than it is knowing the.
Exactly. Like the actual like inputs and like the learning curve of it is very low, because in order to do everything in the game, it doesn't take very long. You can teach someone how to do everything in the game like almost instantly. But it's a game that's like really easy to get into and hard to master in like the ways that like if you play against someone who really knows what they're doing, you're gonna get your ass kicked like every single time, which I like to think that I've proved pretty well.
I agree.
Nintendo needs to put this game out for like a free weekend. Like if they have a system like that, like what happens on Steam where they just like, hey, free weekend, try out our games. I can tell you a lot of people who had no interest in the game would be like, "Oh man, this is really fun and easy." Like, all right, like this game has the same appeal to me that like Super Smash Brothers does. Like, it's just a fun party fighting game that anyone can pick up and have a good time with. Like, this game is severely underlooked in my opinion.
Yeah, the problem that I had with I think the problem that a lot of people have, I think a lot of people assumed that it was only motion controls, which is super untrue. Like you can play it with a controller and it plays very well with a controller and it feels like a very responsive experience. And even without that, the motion controls are some of the best implemented motion controls I have ever played in a video game. Like they are so tight for motion controls and they make sense. They map everything.
Not an incredibly high bar to meet, but I agree.
Not a high bar to meet, but the fact of the matter is you can play now if someone's using a controller and then another person is using motion controls, the controller is obviously at an advantage just because it's easier to press a button than throw your arm forward. But if both people are on motion controls, it is a fucking awesome time. Like it's very responsive. Everything feels like what you're supposed to be doing.
It's also very entertaining to watch.
It's very entertaining to watch. But that's just motion controls.
Bless you.
But yeah, so that's my number one is ARMS. And if you haven't checked it out, I would try to find a way to play it.
Awesome. All right, Jorge, your number one.
To play it.
I can't believe that me as the anime critic has this as my number one, but my number one was Persona 5.
I was expecting you to reach Blast.
I have never played a Persona game before this one. I have never touched Persona. I had no interest in Persona. And then this game looked so stylish, and I just like, all right, try it. Let's just see what this is. And 60 hours in, I was like, this is an incredible game. 80 hours in, I was like, okay, this game is kind of long. 100 hours in, please just end. Just good God, I put 100 hours into you, and at 120 hours, I climaxed. What an experience! What an utter experience! I cannot believe I put 120 hours into a game, and I left completely satisfied. 10 out of 10. Would visit again. Like this.
Good thing it's a Persona game. You can visit it again.
If you've never played a Persona game and you're curious why this game somehow managed to keep someone entertained for 120 hours, Pokemon, demons, and then not only does it have Pokemon with demons, then it's got anime dating simulator with high schoolers, and it's got interesting storylines. Like these are actually interesting people. Like you.
Jorge, I think you'd really like anime if you gave it a shot.
No, Jorge loves anime. He just doesn't like anime. He's just like doesn't like anime titties. That's it.
Sounds like he does. Never mind.
Yeah, I know.
There's more to it.
Anime high school dating.
Anime high school dating that is not just like ass and titties. Like this is actually characters that like I wanted to hang out with you. You seemed like an interesting, and like you feel like you're friends with them because it's supposed to feel like that from high school. The game just does such a good job of making you want to continue to play through the calendar. You hate yourself. It's 3:00 in the morning. Man, Ryuji is got a problem, and I gotta help him with it, man. I gotta
help out.
I hear you
boy.
though. I do get immersed in the character.
Yeah.
Like
much like Daniel, like I want to hang out with Sakura, spend more time with her.
Yeah.
It really is the best Pokemon game I've ever played, and I just that's really all there is, man. I played a Pokemon game for 120 hours, dating a high school girl in Japan, and I can't say I regret it.
Who is your waifu? Who's your endgame waifu?
Ooh.
I went with Makoto because I'm someone who likes big brains, and because her persona was the best.
3Bs.
Like she rides a bike, it's dope. Like I thought her persona was dope.
I liked Makoto a lot too.
I haven't. I've got it sealed in box next to me. I bought it and I didn't even get to open it because I was so busy last year.
I think this is the most insane thing about this. Y'all like hyped Persona 4 so much when we were living together.
I
had no interest. I had no interest in it, and then I'm the one who ended up beating and playing all the way through Persona 5. Like, how did that happen? What timeline had to end up like this?
That's like I realized Monster Hunter.
I realized that JRPGs are a young man's game, and I just don't.
You are right. Yes, you are.
And Soldier 76 over here is not a young man anymore.
I am just happy that this game came out at the beginning of the year when I was in between jobs, because I don't know how I would have done this at any other point.
You'd still be playing it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't get to play it.
I'm just shitposting about Persona 5 like with 1 foot out of.
Yeah, it's just not playable unless you have the free time.
Amazing.
Which is why
Yeah,
I had a few games last year.
if you want a game that for 50 cents an hour keep you entertained,
I want to break it down like that.
Persona 5 is definitely your bang for your buck.
Yeah, if you want to sit down and immerse yourself in a world, I imagine it's like the.
Now come on, Sega, give me the PC version.
Do you want to play? That's actually one complaint I have is like, would you want to play through that again?
I would actually be interested in finishing up some of the social links that I didn't.
Yeah, that's usually a reason to do it again.
I finished, I think, half of them, and I got pretty close with the others.
It's like Pokemon, you can play through with a different team.
I don't know how crazy min-max you have to be to actually finish all the social links.
I think it's pretty crazy impossible. You need a new game
plus.
Usually,
you
usually need a new game plus to get everything. But another thing about it, I wish it was portable. That's what Golden had for me that this one doesn't have.
Yeah. This is the last note. The story, it's probably like kind of Peter Patters, but the final message and the final theme. Yeah, no, like the game sticks to landing, and yes, like this game has such a cool way to just wrap it all up, and it's hype. It's hype. Gurren Lagann levels of hype. They're anime. You know how big of an anime nerd I am now.
There you go. All right, Conrad. Well, you're last up. You're number one.
Really
disappointed. It's not one.
The most extreme. Team Fortress 2: The Jungle Update. I cannot think of a game that's given me more hours in the span of one continuous decade than Team Fortress 2: The Jungle Update.
Here I thought Japan was going to sweep the #1 spots.
But for real, it's Super Mario Odyssey, but I really had to get that in there. Actually, you know what? For real, it is the fucking Jungle Update for Team Fortress 2. It wasn't even that good, but I love Team Fortress 2. So...
All right, so Mario Odyssey, man.
So Mario Odyssey. The topic of discussion is Mario Odyssey, but the reverse honorable mention is Team Fortress 2 Jungle Update. Super Mario Odyssey. It is the game that I 100%ed or got close to 100%ing this year, so it just gets a top spot because I spent the most time playing it.
How many moons did you get?
I don't remember. There's a varying amount because after a certain point, you can just buy sets of 10 from the shop.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. So
it's like an arbitrary number.
Yeah, they're all checked off on each of the there's two I didn't get, and they're obvious. They're the jump rope ones and the volleyball court ones.
Right, because they're mini games based on how well can you do this over and over.
Yeah, and like I'm sure there were tricks, like I could have probably done it if I tried, but at some point I reconciled to make them the last 2 moons I got. And then at that point I thought, what's the point? Like I can just buy 2 moons from the store and be actually, no, there's a complaint. I can just buy 2 moons from the store and negate like the importance of like these 2 moons. But other than those two, all the moons are checked off on each of the levels in my game. Darker Side was a neat, Dark Side was a neat surprise. Darker Side was a neater surprise.
I liked Darker Side more than I liked Dark Side.
Oh yeah, Dark Side was a shitty boss rush, and paintings, a lot of like paintings. Yeah. But well, actually, Dark Side I would say shitty boss rush. I'm sorry, it was a boss rush. But I had to go. You know what? It was neat. The way that you beat the like rabbit bot, the wedding robot, is different than like the way you beat it in your first encounter.
There you go.
Because you get to use the little pick-a-peck bird. Yeah, you get to use the best capture.
The picky-peck bird. Wow.
Yeah, the picky-peck.
It's just like wow, we went there. Yeah. Pokemon has appeared again in this.
Number 0, Pokemon Ultra
Sun and Ultra Moon. Yeah.
Okay, dishonorable mention. Get out of here.
Rainbow Rocket. Pokemon, but... All right, cool. So, any last notes about Mario Odyssey, Conrad?
Yeah, I really like that one jump you can with the jump throw Cappy, hold him, dive into him, throw him again, and then dive again.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
like
just
that
the
jump.
infinite jumping that Cappy provides.
Yeah.
Only Cappy
Yes.
provides.
Dude,
Semi-infinite jumping, but
so
still,
the
it
thing-
gives.
Yeah. I just
my,
want to
my game. Okay, no, go on.
I wanted to piggyback off of that and just say that like Cappy felt like it was obviously a new abilities for Mario, but it felt so like essential.
I don't know
and,
how
like,
we're gonna be
yeah.
without him ever in the future.
Yeah, it felt
I
it
love
felt
that
so
character.
natural. It
Yeah.
felt so natural that like that is the like perfect way that they like expanded Mario's abilities, and it was just such a good like natural feeling for that.
At
I really
least
thought
just
they
as good
nailed
as
it.
Flood. And like I love Mario Sunshine. I love Flood. It worked. The moveset that you got out of Flood was great. The moveset that you got out of Cappy was like just as good. And he's not even a jetpack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
Not-
get the
yeah.
jetpack. You can possess a jetpack
You can possess a jetpack.
in the water level. You can possess Flood.
Oh, I love this.
essentially.
That was like my favorite. that was like
So,
one of my favorite captures.
I'm not surprised, Mr. Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, it's just that the octopus flood you can
Yeah.
have.
So you even get that, and I did like that it touched on those like classic parts of Mario. Like even using that thing to like put out lava, that's all part of Mario Sunshine stuff. So yeah, they did a
Yeah.
great job of incorporating different. But
I hope I'm not like the only idiot that spent like 10 minutes at the octopus fight, like trying to ground pound him, and like it was really hard.
no, I also like at one point I couldn't get the
Yeah.
last hit, and then yeah.
Yeah.
I will say though, there was not, at least to my experience, there's not a single boo in this whole game.
Yeah.
There's not. Oh, that would have made a great capture. They did that
Sure.
in Mario Galaxy. And
That's
it worked
probably why they didn't
I
want to
mean-
do it again.
because it was like
the
Boo with a hat.
Luigi's Mansion 3 development team.
It was the most like monster capture of Mario Galaxy's abilities, I guess.
So it would be
Yeah.
kind of redundant to bring it back, but whatever.
It would have been.
I mean,
just
Mario
I would've
Odyssey 2 is
complained.
going to be really sick.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
guess
It's the
Mario
same
would-
note, right? Breath of the Wild 2, Mario. All these sequels.
That's right. It was missing a Boo house.
It was missing, yeah, anything having to do with Boo, and like
It was
even
missing.
and the dragon's out of place too, but in a good way.
I liked that. That was so cool. Like seeing Bowser show up with that. Like, yes, it's place. It is very okay to be upset about that, but at the same time, like that was such a fun thing to be there for. Like to not know about it until it
Yeah.
happened.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
guys, whoever is watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting me mad.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, it was really great to be here and experience it firsthand without getting spoiled in any capacity.
Yeah, awesome. So, in any case,
Shout out to
the-
those without switches.
Yeah, right. Rest in pepperoni. And I love that sound the Switch makes. But anyway, I think that is it for our top games of the 2017. So
Yep.
awesome. Well, that was the first ever Roommate Squad, and thank you all for being a part of it. Obviously, always a pleasure to talk with you guys, and
You're
I'm
welcome.
sure we'll do some more in the future. But yeah, I guess for anyone watching, please leave below what were your favorite games. Did you agree with us? Did you have the same ones, or did you think our choices were garbage? Let us know, and let us know
The chat's
why.
on the side.
I guarantee it's very rare. If you have the same exact taste as Conrad, I'll be impressed because he's like the most left field with his list, and I always appreciate that about you, Conrad.
I approached with a left hook and then bam, right on the cheek.
I'm
The
really
right way.
still disappointed that there was no
A
one,
nice little-
1-2 switch.
nice
No,
little
1-2
kiss.
switch. You know, at the last minute, I started like throwing together. Oh, 1-2 switch. What can I like? I don't know anything.
What can you say
Yeah.
about 1-2
I,
switch?
I like the cow milking thing.
The cow.
was
I
funny
knew you'd
from an
bring up the
outside
milking the cow.
perspective.
I knew that'd be the one thing. If you brought up anything, it'd be milking the cow.
You know what? And it was heavy contention between that and like measuring ice in a cup. I just didn't
Measuring
remember if
ice
that was
in a
actually a game or just part of the Nintendo Direct promo.
Yeah.
It's like, that would be a lot of fun.
Man, that game
But I'm
should have
not
been
sure if
bundled.
it was in
but
the game.
oh well.
So
In any
that game
case-
should have been Wii Play. It should have
It
come
should
with
have
a
been.
pair of Joy-Cons. It should have
Yeah.
had that one tanks game that I still come back to. Too.
I do enjoy
I will
that.
do it tonight. I'm gonna pop in Wii Play
There you
tonight and
go.
play some wooden tanks.
So if
Oh
you-
yeah, that was a great
that was a
minigame.
fun game, and it
Like,
came with a Wii
bro.
remote, so it was worth buying.
Yeah, like the $10.
It just was. Yeah, it was $10 difference for your extra controller.
Yeah, and I
but-
got to add a fishing mini game.
Oh, the fishing was cool. That game was good. It was
Yeah.
decent. It was fine. But anyway, you
I
can
don't
find
know
all
any
of us.
of these.
Yeah,
I
you
just
didn't really
played
play stuff on the
Sports.
Wii, did you?
I played Wii Sports.
There you go. You can find all of us on social media on the different links you see below our icons there. If you are interested in saying hello to us individually, we're all on Steam. Alex and I are both on Twitter and Instagram as well. So
good luck finding me. It is impossible to search Steam usernames on Steam and like find the person you're looking for.
Yeah,
but yeah, but mine is like a screenshot of the fiddler on the roof. So you'll know it when you see it. You can also add me off the Steam profile or any of these guys' profiles.
Yeah. You know, I forgot to mention it entirely, but I got to give a shout out. Fire Emblem Heroes was definitely a big impact for a lot of people this past year.
I played a lot of Fire Emblem Heroes. It was good. Like, I mean, it's a gacha game, and that comes with the caveats of a gacha game, but like it was still fun.
Pretty solid for
it's a lot of waifu bait. Also, Shadows of Valencia came out too.
Yeah. And that's another game I just didn't get to play because like I didn't have enough time, and I own it.
Yeah,
those are 2 games I bought and didn't even get to open.
Yeah, that's how I am with Final Fantasy 15. I still haven't played that game.
I should really go and play Shadows of Valencia. Like that game looks right up my alley, and I loved Awakening.
Nothing but good things about that game.
So it goes. But all right, cool. So thank you everybody for tuning in. This has been Roommate Squad once again. Everybody, just a quick sign off. I'm Stanpai.
I don't play Fire Emblem. Give me Advance Wars.
That's not your name.
I'm Alex.
I'm Jorge.
I'm Conrad.
And this has been Roommate Squad. Thank you all for tuning in, and please do let us know what you thought of the games that came out last year. What will we talk about next time? Well, find out then.
We haven't figured it out yet.
And that's part of the adventure.
Equally as dumb.
There you go.
I had to Google what Echoes was. That's what that means to me, Madeline.
Man. Well, yeah, let's get some more Fire Emblem remakes. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Take care.